Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Friday closing bell for the week ending 26th of June 2015. Now, beginning where we left off last week. Now, last week, market was doing 1721, which is an FKLI, and now it's 1710. So we lost almost 11 points as the market broke down. But what we could also see, the mid cap stock and the small cap stock also retraced back by almost 7 of the 10% in here, and that's playing into the market why we're seeing a lot of bearishness in here. Now, it's no coincidence that the bearishness is also due to a lot of political news, which is you all would know, which is the 1MDB and the Petrol Saudi, as well as we are coming to the deadline of next Tuesday, the 30th of June, which is the IMF debt repayment for Greek. So that is also playing into the sentiment of it. And on top of that, on 31st of July, we also have the likelihood of likelihood of downgrade by so-called the downgrade of Malaysia Fitch rating. Okay, so that's playing into this market in here. No doubt, if you look in the scheme of all things, market did hit a low of 1690 on the future side. You can see here. Let me just draw your attention here. So that's one, but it did rebound back, and we have a lot of volume in here. So the question is yet to be seen whether we will see market reverse back into the upside. Now let's look at the weekly chart, shall we? Okay, now this is a weekly chart that we have here. We are touching very dangerous level. The last time we touched this was here back in January, and it touches out, and immediately within the week we rally. But this time it's a different story. A lot of bad news in there. So the question, will we rebound back? So far as it is, it does look like the market is going to break through the 1700, judging from here. But the good side is we have been down for almost 8 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be a testing time. It's really 50-50 where the market breaks down. But if it does break, look for really high volume in here. Today, this volume here is relatively high. Let me just draw your attention here. Okay, let's look at the volume here. This one is about 94 million, and this is about 80 million. So the volume sort of drive up, but next week, that's a part where they broke to 1680. We got to look for the volume. If you see a volume exceeded about 100 million, then we are talking about the breakout, which is likely. But if that's a breakout, you might see some sort of stopping volume. SOS would come in, the market rally back. That's normally what it does. It will rally and goes back up. We are still pretty much in a downtrend, and the market just hit high in almost end of April, and since May has been down, and also June has been down. So we have 2 months of downside. Now let's look at the daily chart, as we see here, and you can see daily chart. Purely we have broken down in here. You can see here that is a new low, and it does look like will we see some sort of a spring in here, but spring wise still has to move sideways in here. It's very tough to say. What we're seeing a likelihood of a retest of the low in here, 1700 level in here. Again, a lot of things are pointing a lot to the downside. On the foreign fund, now, on the foreign fund flow, you could see still not much changes. The last so-called, let me just show you the last 5 days, we do have something like almost net selling of 700 million. The selling continued to go lower and lower. That's also probably explain why the market is going lower. Foreign funds are selling, and we're seeing heavy selling in here around 200 million. But we want to see maybe perhaps next week a bigger one that pushes the down market more, and then we might see a bit of a rebound. But as it is, foreign fund does show more on the breakdown. Now let's look at the FKLI futures here. We does see a little bit of potential upside. Here we see some sort of spring tested in here 1690. A lot of people did get washed out, but then the market closed back up at 1705. That will be interesting. So you can see but what we're seeing here, the volume here is very high. So market might just sort of move sideways here, a possible shakeout here. But if it does break to 1690, which we would see, but don't forget the FKLI tend to be a leading indicator, futures, right? So we might see this thing rebound. So it's kind of mixed picture in here. Bias to the downside, at best, just sideways market. Don't look too fantastically bright. Now on the CPO side, a nice so-called spring line change in here. We got low volume in, this little pullback here. It might can be a spring with a narrow body. We'll see what IVSA will say about this in here. Sometimes I leave a lot of the reading judged by IVSA than more than myself, because reading some of these can be quite difficult in here. So CPO does look very promising with the weakening of the ringgit. Okay, quickly move on to regional market. All right. Again, a lot of these markets are affected by the so-called Greek crisis. Definitely, for one, is the U.S. Dow Jones. You can see market hit the 1820. We thought we could go higher. This volume in here, but as of yesterday, market continued to come down. And we will look at wicks. That does tell you that we're likely to hit 1780. Then we should see wicks going a bit higher in here. So on the Shanghai market, but before we go to Shanghai, let's go to the index. The Shanghai index actually took a big fall. We saw this spring in here. Typically, when we see spring, we want to see the market rally. We only got one day of rally. Market use this to just reverse. So smart money is really turning this down. Just a quick rally. Sometimes they call it dead cat bounce, and the market do break down after this. I think a lot of our tightening of the margins that we see in China. Now that's very, very bad, because the 50-day moving average could not hold. And the last time when we took off was in March, and now is almost end of June, 6th March, which is 3 months. 3 months of uptrend. So we do see a lot of correction. We will see a lot more correction coming to perhaps retesting. We might see the first test, which is down here, 4,100. We are almost there. Am I correct? Yeah, there's another 30 points almost there. This kind of wash generally are very, very so-called panicky in nature. Okay, so we want to see a bit of wash, let the market prove itself, move sideways before we really want to get into the Chinese market. Again, that also proves the same thing with Shanghai. All is also running this to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong taking a cue from the US Dow Jones. So that's also trying to break this support level in here. I think next week, remember the Greek payment day to IMF will be on Tuesday, and I don't think they will be moving that too. And you can also see the same thing. First, second, the second time where the SGX Straits Time tried to break back to the 200-day moving average at 33.59, could not break through, and we're seeing this slightly milking down. Also, no change to the ASX. Everybody is following the same, so it's no surprise that Malaysia is also breaking down. But what's very interesting is Singapore is below 200-day moving average. Australia is below 200. It's really below 200-day moving average. Shanghai is both, as well as Hong Kong, below the 50-day moving average. Only one that's doing well is Nikkei. Okay, so it's Nikkei. Now let's look at the gold and ringgit. Okay, last week we did say that going back in here, gold actually hung on, could stay a bit weaker, but sorry to say, it now looks like it's testing the old high at 375, 380. A lot of people is talking it to come. If you look from it, it does look like this market will likely go higher, meaning more weakening of the ringgit here. And let's look at gold. Gold had a rally just before last week on the 18th. Couldn't hold on at 1200 in here again. It's not really a good buy to be buying gold now. A lot has been said about gold. It does look like this is manipulated. It doesn't have gone anything anywhere except beginning of the year when market hit 1280. Since that market really go down, congesting, a long congestion in here. Lots of news about Chinese market dumping gold to go into the stock market. Now they're getting hurt left and right and center. Okay, so that's gold and last before that, let's go look at wicks. Okay, now let me get this correct. Yeah, now you can see wicks. Last week we were at 13.9, which is somewhere around here. Market has moved higher, and it looks here does look like a spring. This does tell you this market is going to spring back up to 15 or 16. A higher number does represent a more bearish outlook from US Dow Jones. So US Dow Jones, I expect it to break lower tonight. Okay, so that's the so-called outlook that we have. Okay, let's look at the stocks that we have now, and let's see